Jesus Christ. Do you like the Steelers?
No. I'm a big soccer fan.
Dude, I used to play soccer as a kid, and it's funny, like, I hated it, but for some reason, that was the only sport I played. I never played football. I played a little basketball, but that was pathetic. I hated soccer, but I was the only sport I was pretty good at as a kid. So I played every year until Katrina. But I can't.
Katrina took your will to play soccer away.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's like I can't understand how that's the biggest sport in the world. The people overseas, they fucking go crazy for it, and I just don't get it.
Me neither. But it's one of the only sports that I didn't. It's a sport I didn't try that I don't regret not trying because I feel like I would not have been good at it, and I just have no interest. I tried football, sucked. Tried basketball, sucked. Funny stories there. My highlight of my football career was a play in practice where I spun a dude out when he was trying to tackle me. I was the running back, and everyone was like, "Oh!" And I was so hyped, and then I got leveled by the linebacker like right after. And then my highlight of my basketball career in fourth grade, I made a shot. I didn't play a lot. I made a shot. I turned to my mom in the stands. I was like, "Mom, I made it!" And she was like, "Run down the other end of the court now." And I was like, "Oh shit." So yeah, I wasn't good at those. The only one I regret that I didn't play that I feel like I would have been good at was baseball. But it's okay. I mean, I do. When it's warm outside, I set something up in my backyard and I just throw at like a net with a ball because I can throw a ball pretty fast. So that's kind of why I was like, maybe I should have played baseball, but never tried soccer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about all I got for soccer.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening.
You know, I don't know. I have no idea where we're going today.
We're going to talk anything and everything Christmas related, man. Anything, everything. It's a Christmas episode, you know? It's Festivus. 'Tis the season. Deck them halls and all that, man.
Yeah.
How you looking on your shopping?
We're done. We're done, and I'm broke. I'm so broke. I'm so broke that I'm refusing to look at my bank account. I don't want to look. I told Sydney, just keep up with it. Make sure we have enough money for blah, 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 these bills. But that's how broke I am right now, where I refuse to look at my bank account. Because if I do, I just have panic attacks. So other than that, I'm great.
Well, I haven't even, I have started. I got my son a few things, but I get paid Thursday and I'm doing all my shopping on Thursday. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
It's weird because my family started doing this thing where they're just like, we're not going to do presents this year, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I just like the gesture. Like, I'm like, don't get me something crazy. Just get me like anything. And because I like opening presents and I like giving presents. But it's weird that they want to do that. I don't like that. And I've been vocal about it, but we get voted out. Me and Sydney are just like, no, we want to. And we still got them presents. So we're going to make them feel like shit this year when they don't have anything for me, but I got them stuff. But I don't like that, dude. I can't stand just don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm going to get you something because it feels good. But I don't get it.
Yeah, I've always been big into giving gifts. I like to do it, and I always end up broke, and I'm miserable for a week or so until I get paid again, and I'm eating dollar menu McDonald's and stuff. But
is there even a dollar menu on McDonald's anymore?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think there is.
I don't know. I tell you, dude, this shit's getting out of hand. I remember just in high school, like 2008, like less than $10. Easily, like it's probably I think like $5 or $6 for like a chicken club and like a large fry and shit, dude. You're better off just getting like Domino's pizza or something. Now it's cheaper than going to Taco Bell or going to like if me and Cindy get Wendy's, dude, it's 20-something bucks. Like what the fuck is going on?
Well, I mean, I went to McDonald's tonight for dinner because I'm pretty low on funds until I get paid, and for me and my brother, it was like $17. It wasn't bad, But yeah, I mean, I don't know if they have a dollar menu anymore. If they do, it's probably just a few things, but they have like something similar to it where it's like, oh, this burger is 139. It's not a dollar, but it's 139. It's like, well, you know.
Shit's creeping up, dude. I swear to God. It's just it's killing me.
Don't go to Hawaii. When I was in Hawaii, we went one morning, we decided we're not going to go to breakfast this morning because anytime you dine in anywhere in Hawaii, it's like $100 no matter where you go. So we're like, we're not going to do that. Let's just go to McDonald's and get McDonald's breakfast. She was like, okay. It was 30 some odd dollars for her and I to get combo meals at McDonald's and both of us to get a coffee. Well, and that's Hawaii. I mean, everything is shipped there. So everything is more expensive there. Literally everything. This was this was last year, so September 2021, and gas was like $5.50 a gallon there when it was still like $3 here. I mean, everything's just more expensive there. So yeah.
Man, oh man. I hate money, dude. Money sucks. Like Paul Stanley, I was reading his book and he said something about money that I love. He was like, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it does give you the ability to not worry about it. And that's half the battle. And I'm like, shit, dude. Imagine having enough money where you don't have to, like, you don't have to think about it. Oh my God, I would be the happiest man on planet Earth if I didn't have to think about it.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't buy Twitter with it. I can tell you that much. No, I mean, I'd love to have that much money. Never have to worry about a thing, because I hate that saying too. No, money doesn't buy happiness. But what money does is, what is a lot of in America, what's one thing all of us struggle with and worry about all the time is fucking money. So if you just had enough money to never have to worry about money, you could worry about other shit. Like, am I fat? Am I ugly? Like, let me worry about that. Don't let me worry about, can I keep my heat on? You know, I don't know.
I'm ready to get to that age where I can really stop caring about my physical appearance. Like, I think I got 10 more years, but once I hit 40, dude, I'm done. I'm not giving a rat's ass. Some people already do. Like, some people, when you get married, you say to yourself, well, you know, we've been together this long, you know, we're not going anywhere, blah, blah, blah. Who cares what we look like? But I think it's YouTube. It's like, oh, I got to exercise. I don't want to look like a fat piece of shit on camera, you know. But
you just embrace it. Embrace whatever it is you're going for, man. Fuck it. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
But I feel like, dude, running makes me feel good. Like, it really, like, if I don't run, I mentally feel like shit. It's like the dopamine from exercise is so great. That's what I've been running for a decade now without stopping. Like, I do it almost every day, 5 miles, and I feel so good when I get done. Food tastes better, you know, like when I exercise, food tastes better, water tastes better. But I'm still a grumpy fuck, you know, even though like my personality is so shitty all the time. But
there's only like 2 times that I ever crave water, and it's like after some form of exercise. Water just hits different. You just chug it. And if you drank a lot the night before, when you first wake up, you're like, dear God, give me some water.
You know what I do, dude? Because I don't like the taste of water. Who does? And if anybody that says, "Oh, I love the way water tastes," like you like the taste of nothing, I bet you have the worst personality. But Sydney got me those little Kool-Aid things. It's like liquid, and there's 0 cal and everything, and it's like drinking fruit punch all day. So like I'm getting my water, and I piss like a fucking cocker spaniel all day at work. But dude, it keeps me going. It keeps me hydrated. Gets rid of my bloated feeling. That's like, dude, I hate feeling bloated, and drinking water fixes that for me. Because like if I eat late at night and go to bed, I'll wake up, I feel pregnant. I feel just like a pregnant piece of shit. And I'll just drink water, and finally I feel better. You know?
Yeah, no, I hear you. But like I've actually recently too gotten to a point where like I don't drink as much pop anymore. Like I don't know. Like it's just because like I feel like, obviously, I know it doesn't hydrate you. If anything, it dehydrates you. And it's just kind of like, why am I drinking this? Like, tastes
good.
It tastes good, yeah. And I still drink it, but I don't drink it as much. You know, I mean, I'm sitting here drinking some right now. So, like, but I got a Fanta. I got a Fanta at McDonald's. I was like, I'm going to get a little something different.
So, I love orange soda, but, like, I drink all I drink is diet drinks. So like I remember I would go to Walmart and get the Crush, and I was like, oh my god, this is great. Their 0 cal Crush is great. Well, I went last couple of times they didn't have it, but they had Sun Kissed, and I got that. Fucking disgusting. I hated it.
Wow, I like
Tastes like
Sunkist.
shit. Maybe the regular.
Oh
I
yeah,
guarantee you not. Their 0 cal Sunkiss was terrible, just god awful. I had to throw them out. I couldn't drink. I was like, Sydney, you drank them, and it is like they taste like syrup, like cough syrup. There's something wrong with them. But the Zero Crush were fantastic. You know,
yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Zero. Like Coke Zero is pretty good. Pepsi Zero is not bad. There's only a.
I can't drink regular sodas. It's like, to me, it's like drinking syrup. It's just like they feel it's way too filling feeling for me. I'm assuming you've been drinking regular sodas. You never really steadily drank diet drinks. If I drink a regular Coke, I feel like I have a brick sitting in my stomach. A brick. I can't do it.
Yeah, man, that's that Coke. Get that Coke up in you. It's yeah, no, Coke is like always my favorite, but I've drank it a lot less in recent years just because it's a lot, man. Coke is the argument between Coke and Pepsi is it's like Pepsi is sweeter. So like if you're going for sweeter, like Pepsi is your thing. Coke is more harsh, but there's something about that harshness that is just like I just love it. Like I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway,
Christmas, guys. It's Christmas week. Whenever this is dropping, I don't know if it'll be Wednesday or Thursday or whatever day, but Christmas is upon us. Have you been in on your Christmas watches? Have you been keeping up with it?
I'm sick of the same shit. Like, I don't feel like watching Silent Night, Deadly Night. I've fucking seen it 1,000 times. I don't feel like watching Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. It's the same goddamn thing. They need to make it Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 instead of TWO. It needs to be TOO because it's the same movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. No, but I tell you what, this Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 through 5 I've been watching because I haven't seen those. I've seen those all one time each, and I've been loving. I love Silent Night, Deadly Night 4. The Brian Usden one. It's fucking nasty and weird, and it's like Society, and I loved that, and I hadn't seen that but one time before, so I haven't watched Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 or 2 this year, and I'm not going to. So I'm burnt out on them, man.
I watched 2 yesterday. I watched 1 and 3 today. I watched 5 last week, and I'm gonna watch 4 tomorrow. 4 is the only one I have not seen. Haven't seen it.
It's really not a Christmas movie.
No.
It's like, it's clear to me that it was something else. And then they were like, hey, we've got the property for this. Why don't we just kind of take a few turns here and there with the story and blah, 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 which is great. But I love it. It's gross. I won't say nothing. I won't spoil it, but I like it a lot. It's really cool. But
when I've been revisiting them, I've been pleasantly surprised with how well the toy maker held up for me.
Awesome.
I like
that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That one's like just a legitimate good film. I think 4's borderline a good movie, but it's really charming. 3 is really bad, but I like it anyway.
Yeah.
Like 3's pretty. They're so cheap, and I have the DVD set of those, and I was for sure like it was VHS rips of it because they were 4:3. And then I was like, fuck, these must have really been television movies. Because, like, the Blu-rays, they're 4:3 still. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, these were TV movies. I didn't know that. I never saw them on TV.
Not just that, man. It surprises me how many boobies are in those movies. Like, I didn't remember going back and watching. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of boobs in these movies. Like, but it's weird because it walks this weird line where, like, some of it is, like, is assault.
Yeah.
And then there's like juxtaposed with a scene that they're trying to make like really like Skinamax, like sensual. And I'm like, this is a really weird juxtaposition here.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, they're fun. They really are. I mean, the only reason that I rewatch part 2 is for Eric Freeman, or his performance is something else. We'll just put it that way. I mean, when he's walking down the street, ha 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 ha.
I take nothing away from it. He's great. It's just
The
Man,
first half, yeah, it's the same. It's the fucking first
yeah.
movie.
I just dude, those and look, I'm sure I'm gonna get shit for it. I'm sorry. I have watched Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2 every single year for the last decade since I got into those films. I'm just dude. I mean, I watched Black Christmas 74 because that's like to me, that's like I just do. And I got the 4K this year, so that was another reason to watch it. Like, but I watched that, but I was just like, fuck. But watch, like maybe come February, I'll be like, now I feel like watching Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2.
I mean, taking a year off isn't always a bad idea. I've done that with some of the Halloween movies. In certain Octobers, I just won't watch them, and then the following year, I'm like rejuvenated a little bit. And I'm like, okay, like yeah, I'll watch this one this October. Like, um, but no, I hear what you're saying because like honestly, dude, I've had a lot of time at night, and I haven't been playing a lot of Xbox as much lately. So I was like, I've been like watching stuff, and you would think I'd be watching a lot of Christmas stuff, but not really. Like I watched Krampus, like I said, the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. I've watched both Black Christmases already, and I guess the one that shall not be named. We watched that one too. But like I just went back and rewatched all 3 seasons of You. And just the other night, I rewatched all 3 seasons over like the span of a week because season 4 comes out in the beginning of February. So
Can't wait.
yeah, I'm saying I was like, I'm gonna refresh myself, and like Jesus Christ, I love that show. I mean, I've loved it since it came out, but like I was like, I'm gonna rewatch it. We'll see if it'll keep my attention or if I'm just doing this to fill time. No, it keeps my attention every time I've watched those seasons. I have to watch it. I'm like, I don't want to put it down. An episode's over, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed, and I'm like, God damn, though, like the shit. I know what happens. Like I've seen it, but like I want to fucking watch it again. Yeah, can't wait for season 4. Really hope it's not the last season. Netflix hasn't made an announcement on that yet, but that's one of their best shows, in my opinion. I don't, and I don't give a shit. Yeah, Joe is a fucking serial killer, but guess what? I still root for Joe because Joe has something about him that everything he does, even when it's wrong, he has a way of explaining it where you're like, I can kind of see his point. So like,
well, he manages to find even shittier people to get involved with, like like the broad and his wife in season 3.
Yeah, and I remember watching that with my wife, and because we watched every season together as it premiered, and like halfway through season 3, her and I were talking about it, and we were like, we're not supposed to like Joe because he's not a good person per se, but like he's not wrong. Like she kills people impulsively way more than he does.
What are the odds?
I know she's cheating on him. Like I was sitting there the whole time, like, I mean, Joe's not wrong though. Like I mean, I'm not saying he should kill her, but like he's not wrong. So like, I don't know. It's a great show.
Netflix is a mess, dude. Like they cancel shit. They have good shows that they just stop. I'm still pissed off about Mindhunter. That's one of the best shows I've ever watched. I fell in love with it, but yeah, I remember we started that like probably like I don't know, maybe a week after it premiered just to watch it because I was like, Sydney was like, I like this actor. I've seen him before, blah, blah, blah. Let's just try it. And it took me a couple episodes, but like by episode 2 or 3 or whatever, I was like, this shit's pretty good. And then it kept getting better and kept getting better. So I'm ready for more of that.
Yeah, it's got to get to a point too where some of the shit starts to catch up with him too. We're getting into season 4. He's killed a lot of people. Like I'm sure season 4 is going to bring up some shit. But still, after rewatching all 3 seasons, I can confidently say the best woman that he had, in my opinion, attraction-wise, was Beck from season 1, the blonde. She was a bombshell. I mean, a bombshell. So hot. So yeah.
Not Christmas related, but do you know what Avatar's doing? I'm just curious.
It opened 441 million worldwide.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. No, hold on though. A lot of people are saying that it's an underperformance. It's a larger opening than the first one, but the first one had the best legs we've probably ever seen at the box office. It would only drop like 10, 15% every week, which is like unheard of. They don't expect this one to do that. This one is probably more front loaded, but with that, and only like 130 some odd of it was US. So over $300 million was just in the international markets, China, UK, shit like that. I am not a fan of Avatar, so if anybody's like, "How do you know all these numbers?" I'm a fan of the box office.
Right, me too.
I keep track of that shit every week when new movies come out. Just especially coming out of COVID and everything, I wanted to see how the movie theaters were going to recover and whatnot. And Avatar is going to make $1 billion. It'll make $1 billion worldwide, but so it ended up being profitable. A lot of people took James Cameron's quote when he said, "Oh, it needs to make $2 billion to be profitable." He was being tongue in cheek, and he was also including Avatar 3 because Avatar 3 is already done. So he's talking about both of them have to make, like $2 billion for the studio to be happy or whatever. Well, this one's going to make over $1 billion worldwide. I'm sure the third one will do the same thing. So yeah, it'll be fine. But, general rule of thumb, don't wait 13 years to make a sequel. I mean, just don't.
Well, I wonder how long, like, I don't know how true Wikipedia is, but it said that, like, he kind of started working on this thing, like, 5 or 6 years ago. Like, he's been working on Avatar for a long time.
They filmed this years ago. Avatar 2 was filmed, dear God, I want to say 2 years ago, something like that, 2-3 years ago. So, yeah, it's been in the pipeline for a long time. And the third one probably won't come out for another 2 years, even though it's already shot. They have to do a bunch of VFX on it. It'll probably take 2 years or so till that movie comes out. So, honestly, man, I hope the third one's the last one because as you and I have talked about, I genuinely don't give a shit about those movies. Like, if you guys like them, like, awesome, more power to you. I know they're visual spectacles, but it's a story I've seen done 100 fucking times. I don't need Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves or, I just don't need it.
Right.
But, and I want to see Cameron do other shit, man. Like, he's talking about, I've got stories up to Avatar 7. I'm like, you're going to be making Avatar till you're fucking dead, bro. And then you're going to do nothing else. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm over it. I'd like to see him do something kick-ass again, but I don't know. Maybe that part of his career is done, doing that kind of, like, crazy action stuff. Like, I doubt he'd ever do another True Lies or...
Did you see today he talked about wanting to reboot Terminator?
I've been saying they should have been remaking Terminator since fucking Genesis, dude, because Genesis was abysmal. They need to remake it. Just start completely fresh.
Yeah,
I'm actually in favor of that.
Yeah, no, same. And as much as I love Arnold, just stop. Like, can we if you cast somebody that has that cachet, tread your own ground now. Like, stop with we're gonna bring back Linda Hamilton, we're gonna bring back Arnold, and it's like, yeah, but like it's just not the same. Like the franchise doesn't have the draw it did. Dark Fate underperformed at the box office. Genesis underperformed. Like, it's just not what it used to be. And I feel like most Terminator fans would probably be like, yeah, man, I'm ready to fucking pass the torch. It's just like Indiana Jones, dude. Like, don't get me wrong, that movie's gonna make a shitload of money, but like Harrison Ford's 80.
Yeah,
like,
it's stupid. It's stupid. Oh God. Yeah, Harrison's up there. I love how much he hates. Like, maybe hates is a strong word, but like I watch clips of him just like being so fucking belligerent to Star Wars fans. Like, he's just so, like, you think John Carpenter's bad talking about Halloween. Like, Harrison just, like, he's mean. He's just absolutely mean. Like, he says, "I don't care" to the fans when they ask him questions. Like, so did you shoot him first or something? He's like, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah.
Don't ask me shit.
Good for him. I mean, good for him. That fan base. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not a Star Wars fanatic, but I am a fan of the movies, and I'm glad I'm not a fanatic of it because I know that the fanatics of that fan base, just like I am with Halloween to an extent, I get it. You're very passionate about it, but that passion sometimes rides the line and crosses the line of
it's cringy.
Yeah, and it's just like cringy. And I've never been one of those Halloween fans either. You saw those Halloween fans come out of the woodwork with Halloween Ends where they were telling other people, you're not a real fan. Star Wars fans do the same thing. It's like, nah, man, some people like some stuff, some people don't. That's really all it is. It's really not that deep. Like, it's just not. But yeah, when it gets to that point of like cringe and stuff, I'm just like, oh God, like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm trying to think if I watch any other Christmas stuff. Oh, that Joe Begos movie, Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Did you see it?
I didn't. I I saw your thoughts on it. I saw a lot of people's thoughts on it. The takeaway that I've gotten from it is it's a fun time, but I have heard a lot of people complain about at points it is hard to watch. The color saturation, the lighting can be a little much at times.
Yeah. It's also streaming too, so I wonder. To me, I didn't feel like there was any depth of field to the movie. Like everything just kind of seemed like it was in focus. So the cool thing about Joe Begos is he was on Charles Band's podcast, and I was listening. Joe bought his own 16mm cameras, and he shoots his movies in 16. He doesn't shoot anything. He edits digitally, like he transfers the movie and all the film over to digital, but he shoots everything in 16, and it's awesome. But I'd like to see the Blu-ray of it, where like there's no, you don't have to worry about the stream or anything, because everything. And here's the thing, you can't comment on this or you can't say you agree or disagree with this before seeing it. I actually feel like the characters were a little bit of a satire, because he made the broad like really like opinionated about movies and music and stuff, super specific, like Tarantino. Like there was an argument with her and her boyfriend talking about Pet Sematary and why she thinks part 2 is better than part 1, and like it's very super specific, over the top stuff, which I found to be a little satirical. But people were just like, "Oh, he's trying too hard. He's trying too hard." I personally think it was satirical, but like that's something you'd have to see to make your own assessment on.
Mm-hmm.
And he spent $2.5 million on the movie, and
It's on Shudder, right?
It's on Shudder.
Yeah,
it's on Shudder. And I feel the movie didn't look cheap, but I'm just like, $2.5 million. That's interesting. If you would have told me he made it for $800,000, I would have believed it. But Jeffrey Daniel Phillips is in it, and he's good. It's really a silly, nonchalant movie. Barely any plot. It's about a killer robot Santa. But it's a super advanced robot Santa, so like you don't really get the impression it's a robot. But he's it's an ex-military robot thing,
like the toy maker. Okay, all right,
yeah. But the story, what happened was the people who have the rights to Silent Night, Deadly Night approached him and said, "Hey, we want to make a remake." And he goes, "Okay, cool." And so they told him, "Hey, write a treatment, write a script, whatever." Probably a treatment. I doubt they took it write a full script. But he said he submitted what he wanted to do, which was a ex-military robot Santa movie, and they were like, "No, we don't. This. Have you seen Silent Night, Deadly Night? It's not what that is." And his response was, "Yeah, they already did that movie. Like, if we're gonna do it, why can't we do something different?" And so they went separate ways, and another company was like, "Well, we like your idea, so let's make that." And so that's how Christmas Bloody Christmas happened. I liked it, but it's right middle of the road. I don't think it's the best thing he's done.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it this week. It was funny. I'm grabbing something right now. You said you were talking about Christmas stuff you'd watched, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Christian has watched this classic this Christmas. I want to let you guys know I watched this one time. I blind bought it, and I watched it one time. I'll never watch it again. Yeah, Christmas Vacation 2.
Masterpiece.
This movie sucks balls. Like, it's really bad.
What sucks is it really, like, the National Lampoon name used to mean so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got sold. This company bought it. It was a dying asset. So that company was literally, if you look up the filmography under National Lampoon in like the mid 2000s, it is tons and tons of cheap, shitty movies that just soiled the name and soiled it worse and worse. And National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2 was supposed to try to rejuvenate the brand of National Lampoon, but it did not happen that way.
No, look, the only way you were going to get that movie to be anything, Randy Quaid is not a leading man, guys. I like him in Christmas Vacation and the vacation movies. Like,
super important.
Yes, very important. But the only way you were going to get that movie to work, you had to bring Chevy and Beverly back. I mean, you had to. Like, there was just no way, because we didn't want to follow Cousin Eddie's family and just Cousin Eddie. Like, you need the whole family. And if you're not going to have them, it's just not going to work. And it did not work. I watched it one time, man. And It sits on my shelf by itself now, and I'll never watch it again. I mean, it was just like even the attempts at humor are so bad. Like
Swing and a miss.
It's not even funny. I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, I implore, there's probably a lot of people that had no idea that even existed. I implore you to go on YouTube, and I forget the YouTube channel, but just type in Christmas Vacation 2 documentary. And there's a guy that breaks down a lot of the stuff I was mentioning about National Lampoon, the brand, and what happened and why they kind of went away. And then if you go to the used DVD bins, you might see National Lampoon's blank, and it's a bunch of just trash, low budget indie films.
But I saw this in the $5 bin at Walmart like 10 years ago, and that's where I bought it. I was like, because Christmas Vacation has been my favorite Christmas movie since my buddy Tommy and Chris's dad showed it to me because it was his favorite when I was a kid. I'd hang out there all the time, and he showed it to us when we were kids, and I fell in love with it. And I remember seeing this in the $5 bin at Walmart years ago, and I was like, they made a second one? Oh, my God. And Randy Quaid's in the cover. I was like, oh, my God, this is going to be awesome.
Cousin Eddie, bro.
Yeah, and I was like, holy crap, that was awful. Like, it was really bad.
Yeah. I mean, so look, I know it's supposed to be a Christmas episode, but I'd actually like to talk about the movies that are coming out next year, because I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of which one I want to mention first.
I mean,
Scream's coming soon. Yeah. It's only a few months away, and we'll be at the theater seeing it.
Yep. And Christian has already made his mind up, guys. Scream 6 is going to be one of his favorites. It's just going to happen. He's not going to allow it not to be because it takes place in New York. So he's already going to walk out of that movie going, I fucking loved it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm optimistic. I'm excited because for the first time, I genuinely don't have an idea of what to expect.
Yeah, you feel like we're getting something a little new with Scream, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But for me, man, top of my list next year is got to be Maxine. I mean, I cannot wait for that movie. Scream is obviously there, but honestly, dude, I feel like I'm more excited for Evil Dead Rise than I am Scream at this point.
Yeah, and Scream is not my most excited film next year. Mine's actually Saw. I'm really excited to see Tobin Bell back.
And Shawnee Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that Saw's been missing with these last few movies is like, it's technically a Saw movie, but like, it's just not the same. You don't have Jigsaw, you don't have Amanda, like you don't. Well, now they're back. So this will feel like a legitimate return to the Saw franchise, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, well, the question is, how in the fuck are they back?
It's a mid-cool, man.
Exactly.
It either takes place, but now I'm getting conflicting shit. I'm hearing it's either between 1 and 2 or between 2 and 3. It's between those.
It's gotta be one or the other.
Yes. So
that's no choice. It's gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
How much shit and like. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited because, look, for me, you ask me why I go to see Saw. I loved the soap opera story, especially as they were coming out. It was remarkable to go and see, okay, remember what happened to this guy last time? We're going to follow him, blah, blah. But it's the traps, too. I'm like, I can't wait to see, like, that close-up shot of somebody's eyes opening up, and then you see the terror in their face. And all of a sudden, that little TV starts, and you know,
Billy the puppet, yeah,
dude, that's the sound of my that's the sound of my teenage years is hearing that. Oh, blah, blah, I want to play again.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
I remember making out with girls in the theater to those movies when I was a teenager.
Yeah, man,
like,
dude,
yeah.
every year for Halloween. I always tell people that is my generation's Friday the 13th. Like it was they kept coming out, and we went every October, and
that's why I hate when some people like undermine Saw and like talk about it's not the same and blah blah blah. It is exactly the same. Like it is exactly the same for us as Friday and Halloween and Nightmare were for people 30, 40 years ago. This is exactly the same because it's a recurring franchise that literally has been at the top of its game for almost 2 decades that keeps coming back. And it's like, so yes, it's exactly the same. And Yeah, no, I'm excited for it too, man. I really am. You know, like you said, the things that you look forward to when it comes to a Saw movie. I mean, I honestly, the way they end some of these movies, some of the endings of these movies have just been like, I remember being a teenager being like, I have to wait a fucking year.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? And
Yeah.
one of my least favorite movies in the series is Saw 5, but I love the ending of
I
Saw
love
5.
Saw 5.
He gets in that fucking glass coffin and is like, you should have listened to me. You should have got in here and trusted me. And then the walls just close in on him and break the fucking dude into, oh, it
The best.
smashes him. That was a great ending. But you can't fault people in those moments. Like, I didn't fault Strom. Fuck no, I'm not getting in that casket. You're going to fucking kill me. Like, I would have done the same thing. So
That's one of my favorite characters, and I know I'm in such a minority. I fucking love Saw 5. That dude is me. If I was in that movie, I am that guy. Like, everybody's an idiot. Get the F out of the way. Why aren't we doing shit about this? I know it's that piece of shit right there. I'm gonna get you. Like, I've never related to a character in that franchise more than him. And so I'm a big fan of that movie. But
yeah,
it's very low. I think it's like people are just kind of like, by that point, it's just like, what we got going on now? It's
well,
the same shit.
yeah, but I also think part of it too, for me at least, was that Hoffman still hadn't come into his own yet. Hoffman was still trying too hard to be Jigsaw, but you could tell he wasn't Jigsaw. So finally, when you get to Saw 6 and Saw 7, you get straight up slasher Hoffman. And that's what I wanted because you're not Jigsaw. So, like, stop trying to be him and be your own version. And his own version is, I'm a little messier than Jigsaw, and I'm going to leave, like, accidental clues, and I'm going to kind of step on my own toes. But if I feel like you're on my trail, I'll slit your throat.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's
Well,
like,
he was figuring, like, I remember in 5 though, like, he was like battling, finishing out Kramer's plan, but he also wanted just fucking revenge. The movie starts with the guy that killed his sister, right? Or whatever.
yes, yep,
And he fucks that dude's world up.
yep.
Just fucks his world up.
And
I
what,
remember he was pressing those things for his hand to get the guillotine to stop going down.
and it
He
didn't stop.
pressed them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And they talk about it
Hoffman,
later in the movie about how it wasn't meant to release. And it's
written.
like, yeah, and it was the same way with Amanda. I mean, Amanda in Saw 3, when she gets Carrie in the angel trap, there's no, she passed. She got the key out of the acid. But I remember the first time I watched that movie, I was literally thinking before it even happened, I was like,
Dump the bucket, bitch.
well, yes,
Dump it. Get the acid out.
But I'm thinking, like, this doesn't matter though. Like, those are hooked into your rib cage. Like, this key for this lock around your neck isn't going to get that out of your rib cage. Like,
Yeah.
and then she realizes that, and she's like, fuck. And it's like, so Amanda and Hoffman were the same way. People weren't meant to win those games, and it's like, which is fuck. They got into it for the wrong reasons. They were just sadomasochists, I guess. They were psychopaths,
dude. And again, this is not something people agree with. I get it. The Conjuring is great. You will never tell me or convince me that Saw is not James Wan's greatest film. Look at what it created. It created it changed the world. Saw, give it another 7, 8 years. Saw is going to become the next Scream. Because right now, Scream's taking over the world. Saw is going to have its day. I guarantee it. It's too good. The ending is... Dude, you want to talk about how good the ending of Scream is or how good the opening... Are you kidding me? The ending of Saw, when that motherfucker gets up... Dude, I was like, what the fuck is happening? My parents, who are dead inside, I remember their reaction to watching something. My mom was like... When he got up in the bathroom, dude, it changed the world. I'll never forget. And we watched the VHS. We went to Blockbuster and rented the VHS tape of Saw. So that was like pretty late in the VHS life. But I remember, dude, we were like, holy, Saw will get its day where people it's happened. Don't get me wrong, but I guarantee you it's gonna be the next Renaissance movie that generational kids will grasp onto. That'll be the one.
Yeah, I mean the first Saw's ending is still one of the most surprising endings. I feel like if you make a top 10, top 20, like
It's
holy
up there.
shit list, it's
Top
got to be on there.
top 10 for sure. Maybe not top 5, but definitely top 10.
Yeah, it was one of the most surprising things I've seen, surprising endings I've seen, because you had no inclination that entire movie that that guy was alive or that he had anything to do with it or anything like that. Like none. There was nothing to lead you to that conclusion. So
Yeah.
like when it happens, you're just like, and it's even, oh God, the fucking salt in the wound is when he gets up and he just tells Adam like the key for that is in the bathtub, and it's like, why the fuck would you do that? Because like you put his I think it was Amanda, I think we saw later on, that put him in the bathtub, or it might have been John, but like put his toe around the fucking drain plug so like it would go down there, like it was intentionally done, which was probably something Amanda did because she's a bitch. But like, yeah, I mean,
Wait a minute. We're talking about Amanda and Tobin Bell being back for this movie. What about Hoffman?
there's no mention of it.
Dude, that's bullshit. I call
Yeah,
flag on the play.
well, that's not to say he won't be. But there's been no press release about it. There's been no. Now I did. I guess I could ask the dude that I know that has a lot of the info that he gave me about it before it started getting announced. I can ask him and see if there's any mention, but I'm pretty sure he made a tweet not long ago, a few weeks or a month or so ago, and was like, no, as of right now, from what I know, there's no Hoffman. And I mean, though it kind of does make sense. If this is between Saw 1 and Saw 2, they're kind of trying to go back to the roots. Like, and I get, you don't want to have too much going on. If you're like, here's all these fucking characters in one movie again, it's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Keep it simple. Give me John, give me Amanda. Like, let me see what happened between some of those movies, because still Saw, for as brilliant as it is in many ways, it made the cardinal sin of killing off its best character 3 movies into the goddamn series, because it's just.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't expect them to make fucking millions.
Well, I know.
Like, well, we got to do another one.
Yeah, but it's funny though, because if you watch any of these behind the scenes stuff on any of these Saw movies, they always say, "Oh yeah, we leave breadcrumbs at the end of every movie because we kind of know where the next one's going. Like we always leave some kind of story thread hanging." And it's like, and they did that in Saw 4, with his daughter, being Jeff's daughter still being in there, and like Jigsaw's recording saying like, if you ever, if you kill me, basically your daughter's screwed. Like I'm the only one that can help you. Blah blah blah. So like they knew they were gonna make another one. And it's like, you dumb sons of bitches. Like, why?
Did they, you really, I got to give them credit, though. I think they actually did do a good job, because look how much we're fans of Hoffman. And dude, he flew that Saw banner. I mean, I was and people hated him, like, which is what they wanted. Like, now I love Hoffman. Because I've enough years of going back, I can watch the show and be like, But when those movies were coming out, dude, I really wanted to. I wanted to shoot him.
Yeah,
And, like, I wanted to shoot the screen.
I'm still not over how they did Donnie Wahlberg. I'm still not over it.
He got fucked.
I'll never forget being in the theater for Saw 4 and seeing the reveal of him standing on that ice block, and I was like, he's alive. Oh my God. I loved him in Saw 2. And I love him in Saw 3 when he's beating the shit out of Amanda. He's like, you'll never be Jigsaw, you fucking bitch. I'm like, dude, this guy is so awesome. And if Rig just had patience, how many times do these motherfuckers have to go through these traps and not read between the lines when Jigsaw is saying, can you learn to let go? Can you learn to stop being against, in a race against the clock? And he's like, I have to beat the clock. And
that's my biggest issue with 4, because to me, it's so blatant that this guy's an idiot.
He is.
And the traps are pretty good in 4, but 4 is pretty low on. Granted, I like the Saw movies, but like it's really picking just favorites. That's one thing about 4. It does some really good stuff. I love the fact that he takes that like fat, crazy, like female molesting
piece of shit
son of a bitch. Yeah. But the premise for his character, it's double-edged sword for me, because I'm like, it's so blatant. He's just saying, if you want blah 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 to happen, literally just stop. Okay. But at the same time, it's at the same time there are people who are about to die, and it's like just don't if you're not going to save them, like that brawl in the
Exactly.
beginning in the house. So it's so double edged. I don't know. That's it. Just got a little far. The story for his character was like a little far fetched for me. That's my issue with 4.
Yeah, and I hear you on that. I mean, I take some issues with 4. I mean, I guess my biggest issue with 4 is why did Eric have to be collateral damage for Rig? Because Eric got out of his trap, his ankle trap, and like he got out of it, and so he should have been set free, but he wasn't set free. But Jigsaw kept him alive because he had plans for him in another game, sure. But why did Eric have to die because Rig failed? And I get it. Like, if your premise is like, we're trying to teach, Rig a lesson, we're trying to get him to learn something. It's like, yeah, but at the expense of somebody else's life that already got out of their own trap. Like, that always pissed me off.
That's where Hoffman took over, though, right? By 4, Hoffman was in charge. Maybe if Kramer was alive during that time and still in charge.
Yeah.
Because I hear what you're saying. I'm thinking to myself, who was it that got out of that whole scenario scot-free? It was Hoffman.
Yeah. Motherfucker just stood up. He was never in any actual danger anyway. You got Eric Matthews on a block of ice with fucking like a giant fucking pendulum above his head. Well, not, you know what I mean? About to fucking smash him. And not to mention a chain around his neck. So as it falls, he's getting choked. And Hoffman's like, I'm tied to a chair. Oh no. Like, when you go back and watch Saw 4 and you know how it ends, you watch that situation and you're like, these two are not the fucking same, dude. No. Like, you are in a chair. He's barefoot on a block of ice with a chain around his neck with a fucking rig above his head ready to smash his brain. Like, no, yeah, it's so, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, though. When those movies were coming out, I hated Hoffman. I hated him because as a viewer, tell me if I'm wrong here, but when you're watching the Saw movies, one of the things that like gets you into it, and like I've had arguments with people about this because it's like, I'm not defending Jigsaw. Like, he still is fucked up, but like, say what you will. He gave you a chance. He always gave you a chance, and he wanted you to learn something. Is it super fucked up? Absolutely. It's not right. He's still a fucking messed up dude, but he always gave you a chance. And the reason I hated Hoffman is because he didn't. He didn't give you a chance. He wanted the only games where you had a chance when it was Hoffman is when somebody else was still involved in the games, Jill or John. But if it was a Hoffman game that he was overseeing, you're fucked. Yeah. And it's just like, that's why I hated him. I was like, you fucking asshole. Some of these people really do want to change and really want a second lease on life, and you just won't give it to them. And that's messed up.
Yep. Yeah, man. He's such a great character. Toby Bell's character, John Kramer, such a good fucking character. I remember one of my favorite moments is like when Jill is like having a flashback to see she's at her hospital, her methadone clinic, and she has that flashback of John in the office, and he's talking to her, and she's just like, it takes time, we gotta try this, and all of a sudden John Kramer, who's always just really low pitch, he's like, just wake the fuck up. These people have no value for their lives. And it's just like, God damn, dude. He makes the whole movie. And then, dude, the whole thing about the insurance agency stuff in 6. I remember, even as like a 17, 16-year-old kid, however old I was in 2009, I just remember saying to myself, like, God damn, this seems like this is going against the grain right now. Like, but it was so good. It was so good. And how the kid is like, fuck you, dude. You killed my dad. Like, you didn't want to pay for his, like, his surgery or whatever he had. He flipped that breaker like he didn't give a fuck.
Which was hard for me I like 6 a lot. It's definitely one of the better ones, but so I do feel like that guy did come out of his game changed, and I do feel like he did a lot throughout his game to try to save the people. And so, like, I did feel bad that for him a little bit that the kid made that decision. Also because, like, at the end of the day, man, he's just a puppet. He's a pawn in the insurance industry's game. Like, it's his job. You might want to blame him for the decisions he makes, but he has. I mean, he has to. I mean, like the bottom line's the bottom line. If he doesn't do it, they'll replace him with someone else. But then again, you could say, "Whoa, don't get in that line of work." Sure, absolutely. You know, he still was a piece of shit for not caring about doing that to people. But like that movie just calls out the fucking corrupt health insurance industry in this fucking country, and it's just spot on. It's like
I'll tell you right now, dude. So when I graduated nursing school, I started working in a retirement home for a little while. Hated it. I just hated being a nurse, which is why I stopped doing it. But I worked in a drug rehabilitation facility. Obviously, I'm not going to say the name on here, but when I say the number one criteria when accepting patients is seeing if they have health insurance, that's it.
unless you have the money to afford to live longer, well, sorry, dude. You know, maybe you don't get to live as long as everybody else, and you know, I don't know.
So yeah, we got Saw coming up.
Yeah, so
I'm excited about that. Scream, I'm excited for that. I guess I'm gonna see it. I can't say I'm excited. What does that mean when I'm excited? Like, am I doing something every day in anticipation for it? Like, no.
you were excited for Halloween Ends. It's like that, you know.
I was excited for Halloween Ends. I enjoy the journey for that because I know that it doesn't happen that often. And I mean, to me, Scream is not as cool as Halloween. So, you know, Evil Dead's coming this year, which is great. Evil Dead Rise. I can't imagine that's going to be bad.
No, they're batting 1,000. They haven't missed yet. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I try to tell people that sometimes. It's like most people agree with that sentiment, but yeah, that's one of those franchises where even the TV show Ass versus Evil Dead, like I can't look at anything they've done and be like, oh, they missed with that one. No, they're all solid. So
that'll be exciting. I'm ready for that. Who directed that?
Lee Cronin.
Who the fuck is that?
He made a movie called The Hole in the Ground, which is why Sam Raimi handpicked him. I haven't seen it, but Sam Raimi loved that movie, and he was like, I want you. It was actually Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. They handpicked this director. So,
okay, I trust Sam.
I mean, you've seen the images they're releasing. They look good, man. They look good.
Yeah, I saw the picture of some creepy looking broad with her eyes, like, you know, looking at the camera, and I was like, oh shit, that's creepy. You know, when Maxine, I got to be honest with you, Maxine, I'm almost wondering, like, Christian, you need to temper yourself. Maybe this won't be the best one.
It'll be the best one. It's going to be the best one.
I think it'll be the most aesthetically cool for the audience too.
Dude, the soundtrack's going to be killer too.
I say, yeah, I hope it's not too basic though. Like, don't get me wrong. I was really excited that, and look, I get it. Blue Oyster Cult was a massive band. I mean, they literally, there was a time where every band you can think of opened for them. Kiss, Rush, because the Blue Oyster Cult was on top of the world in the late 70s. But they didn't hold that, and they have a few hits that people know. And I was just thinking to myself, damn it, like, I'm a nerd. I'm a Blue Oyster Cult nerd. I know every song that they've ever put out. And when I was watching Pearl, there was a ton of different Blue Oyster Cult songs that would have fit perfectly with the scene. And I was talking to Lauren. Me and Lauren are big fans, and I was like, which song? I would have put, you know, Valley of blah 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 in that right there. And he's like, oh, I would have done Moon Crazy from Mirrors, blah blah blah, because the lyrics and stuff would have fit it so well, like literally fit the movie well. So we were nerding out about that. And I was thinking to myself, you know, it's, to me, I feel like what's his face, the director, would have been cool enough to do that and be like, no, I don't want to use the hit song. I want to use this song, like the way we're thinking. And he didn't do that. Don't get me wrong, as a Blue Oyster Cult fan, anytime I can hear their music in a movie, I'm just like, thank God, like, finally. But
well, dude, honestly, with what X was going for and the theme of X, although it is another one of their hits, I honestly think with the theme of X, Burning for You might have worked better in that scene.
Like, hey, couldn't have. It's 1981.
Oh yeah, you're right. Fuck.
The movie took place in 70.
Yeah, you're right.
The movie took place in 77, right?
Yes.
77.
Mhm.
And so Don't Fear was 76.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, maybe he was just keeping it accurate. You know, I get that. That song in '77 probably would have been the fucking song. So like,
Oh,
it
without
makes
question.
sense. Yeah.
Dude, without question. I always ask my dad about stuff like when there's stuff that I'm enamored with. I was like, Dad, so like, do you remember when Don't Fear the Reaper came out and stuff? And he goes, "Oh, when I say it was the biggest song." And but the thing I love about it is it's a cool song. It's not one of those songs where you listen to and it's just like, it's just like a hit. It's like kind of like teeny bop-ish. Not that there was a lot of stuff from the 70s that was, but like Don't Fear the Reaper is such a creepy, cool song. When I'm sad, it makes me feel happy. When I'm happy, it makes me feel sad. It's just this transcend. It's literally one of the greatest songs ever written. I'm
Well,
such a Blue Oyster Cult fanatic.
there's a band that has a lot of songs like that for me that have just never done it for me. Like a lot of people have, and I go back and I listen to some of these songs, and I just don't see the appeal. And that's the Beatles. I don't know. They have some songs that I really do enjoy. I think one of my favorites of theirs is "Hey Jude." I really really enjoy that song. But like, man, that's a band that everybody talks about, everybody rants and raves about, and I just go back and listen to it. And I'm like, sonically, this is just it just doesn't seem groundbreaking to me. Like, I just don't understand
It was
why.
though. I hear you, but they really kind of like set the blueprint for the song as we kind of know it.
And yeah, maybe that's true. And I didn't live through that era, but like, it's not even just that. It's just like I don't know.
You
It's
don't connect
never.
with it. You don't
Yeah.
connect with it. I feel you.
And,
I'm a big Paul McCartney fan. I love his career. I loved his stuff with the Wings, and I love his solo stuff, especially in the mid to late '80s. He'd put out some good shit. But I'm a Stones guy. I'm a Iggy and the Stooges guy, Alice Cooper guy. Sydney is a. It's funny because Sydney's a big Beatles fan, and I always say Sydney, like, does it kind of annoy you when like you're a genuine, really, really big fan of something that's a brand, and where people just wear Beatles shirts, but they probably can't name a song from it,
mm-hmm.
and she's like, no, why would that annoy me? Because it would annoy me.
Yeah, it annoyed me.
It would annoy me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's how I was with Metallica. Like, Metallica was my favorite band growing up, and like, I get it. People are like, Metallica's been memed to death because Kirk Hammett and his wah wah and James Hetfield with his yeah. Like, I get it, but like, what they were doing for thrash metal was a big deal, and like, and that can't be denied. Like, people, they want to talk about the Black Album and stuff like that. Like, go back and listen to Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and shit. Like, those records for thrash metal, that's some of like the best thrash metal records ever. Like,
Yeah.
they're just so good. And like, and it would piss me off in high school when I'd see kids walking around with fucking Metallica shirts. It was always the same fucking shirts, Master of Puppets. I'm like, Matt, yeah, it's a great fucking record, but you probably literally only know Master of Puppets. And like, you don't appreciate and respect the band for like the shit they did. And it's like, yeah, they're memed to death now, but like, they're one of the highest selling artists ever for a reason. Like, they were very important to thrash metal. Like, there's a lot of people, there's an infighting in the thrash metal, forums and shit of Megadeth versus Metallica. And it's like, musically, Megadeth is more intricate than Metallica, but like sonically, like listening to it, I just think that Metallica is far more enjoyable to listen to, like far more enjoyable. But Dave Mustaine is 10 times the guitar player Kirk Hammett could ever dream to be. And I wouldn't take that away from him.
But that just goes to show you, though. Doesn't that go to show you something, though? It's not like, guess what? Guess who's still more popular than Dave Mustaine and couldn't even play the guitar? I mean this with all due respect. He was not a good guitar player at all, but he could write good songs. Was Kurt fucking Cobain?
Yeah,
that just goes to show you, dude. It's not always about the talent.
Well,
Now,
Dave didn't have the face. He didn't have the voice. He just didn't have that frontman persona.
It's funny because I'm a big Megadeth fan. Like, some of their stuff, like Holy Wars, is some of the most insanely written stuff I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
and it's great. I'm an Anthrax guy. Like, I like Metallica. I'm a big fan of Megadeth, but like, I'm an Anthrax. To me, Anthrax is always like the Simpsons of the thrash metal because they had a sense of humor. They had funny songs. I love Anthrax. I fucking don't like Slayer at all. I don't like
Neither do
listening
I.
to
I
Slayer.
fucking hate Slayer,
It
dude.
just all of it sounds like shit.
It's
to
a
me.
barrage of shit. It's just like
There's no bass guitar in the mix at
No.
all because Tom Araya can't play. He can't fucking play. I dare you to watch. I know you know. I don't know if you play guitar, but like I'm telling you, watch. If you watch them play Rain and Blood, he's like the guitar stuff is insane. He's not doing any of it. He's just strumming the open E the whole song. I am not a Slayer fan. I like Tom Araya as a person. He's like this really lovable, nice guy. Kerry King's an asshole. They kicked out the greatest drummer twice, or they lied to him. Dave Lombardo, I'm talking about, greatest drummer ever. After Jeff Hanneman passed, oh god. You know what's funny is on the Repentless record, which is such an insane album cover, it's literally like Jesus with the crown of thorns, and he's bleeding profusely on the front. Darren Miller's wife, Felissa Rose, she directed the video for Repentless.
Jesus.
Felissa Rose directed Slayer for a music video.
Yeah, I mean, gee, I did not know that, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I was really happy to hear you say you don't like Slayer because I do not like them at all. At all. I know we have listeners right now. We have some listeners that are like, gee, I can't stand this. I fucking love Slayer. It's like, guys, I get it.
Look, yeah. Like I said, I'm an Anthrax guy through and through. I fucking love Anthrax. I think you get the best of both worlds. They've got some great serious shit. They're all very talented. Frank Bello's a monster on bass. But Metallica, they reach the people, whether I like to admit it or not. I like Metallica. I'm not a massive fan, but to deny that they're the band that clearly reaches people because they connect with the music, it's not up for debate. The numbers don't lie. The Black Album sold the Black Album. What's his face? Jason Newsted said like a few years ago when he was interviewed, he said the Black Album still sells 1,000 records a week.
Yeah, no, it's insane. It's one of the highest selling albums of all time. And it's Metallica. I think that's because Metallica's peaks, their highs are higher than their competition. Like they have a lot of middling shit that's not very good. Metallica does, but like the albums and just some of the songs on them. I mean, Master of Puppets is one of the most well-known metal songs ever. Like it's just like shit like that. Like they've got on every album, they have one or two songs that you when you hear it, you're like, that's going to be in rotation for 100 years. And it just fucking is. Like, it just is.
Yeah. I really liked, it's funny, dude, because I know you like Saint Anger. I'm not a fan. To me, that's the only, like, to me, just hearing Metallica trying to be trendy, they're so groundbreaking. To me, it was just criminal. But I know you like it. I respect that. I hated the album after that.
There's a lot of shit on Saint Anger, man. There really is. I shouldn't say that I like Saint Anger as a whole. I like a few songs on Saint Anger. They really stand out. I really like the title track, Saint Anger. I love Some Kind of Monster. Part of that is because of the documentary Some Kind of Monster, which I own.
That shit's embarrassing. I can't believe they did that. Seeing James and Lars fight like that.
Honestly, though, I appreciated it too because it was something that the fan base had talked about for years, like at shows, at VIP meet and greets. Like people were saying, there's fucking tension here. Like it's obvious there's tension here. So like, you might as well put it out there. You might as well show the dark side of yourself too and be like, yeah. I mean, and there was a documentary. I'm gonna get shit for this from fucking Dave Vanderhoff because he makes jokes about it all the time. But like when I was a kid, I loved the fucking Backstreet Boys, dude. They were on top of the world in the '90s, and they put out a documentary in 2013, and I watched it. And you get to see some of the same shit. Some of the members, while they're in the recording process, cussing each other out and like personally attacking each other and shit. And it's like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, no matter how much money you make together. But
dude, the whole thing. I just love how good Jason Newsted looked in that. He stood his ground. He did a side project, and James was being a cocksucker about it. I don't know how else to put it. And
it's sad. If Cliff Burton never died, they would have never replaced him. I mean,
yeah, well, that guy was a monster. You know?
Yeah.
I like Robert too because I like Suicidal Tendencies, and he's super talented. There's no denying it. But
he's such a chill dude too. He's so nice.
Newsted was I like the way he played because I'm a big Motorhead fan, and I love the bass players that attack their fucking bass with a pick, not pop punk. That little jabroni from Fallout Boy that acts
Pete Wentz.
He acts like he's playing guitar and bass. Just play the fucking guitar.
Yeah.
Newstead was just, and that's how Lemmy played. Like Lemmy just attacks the bass with the pick, and I adopted that too because I was such a big fan of those guys.
Now, say what you will about James Hetfield, he's not the biggest asshole in the band. It's Lars Ulrich. Lars Ulrich is the biggest asshole in that band, and he's
just a little shrimp.
Yeah, which is probably why he's such a dick. Like he's a dick, man. Like, and it's funny too because like guys, I do believe Kirk Hammett is a very talented guitarist. Make the wah wah jokes all you want. I do believe James Hetfield is a very talented vocalist. Lars, I mean, like there's not a ton of like super intricate drumming in Metallica. Like there's really not. Like Lars is probably the most replaceable, and he's the biggest asshole. Like,
yeah, but you can't replace him. Like,
I know,
especially when you look at the Big Four's competition. Like I said, I know Dave Lombardo was so talented. It looked like you were watching an alien play. Charlie Benante is playing on that Pantera reunion for a reason because he's the man. He's one of the best drummers in thrash. Even the bands that aren't part of the Big Four, like Testament's drummer is just the devil. You know, these guys are super talented, and Lars is just this little punk shrimp. You know, but I'll say this about Lars, man. You can sing some of his beats. Like he you know, it's the same thing with Kurt Cobain, man. You know, he may not be the best, but something about Lars, people, when they hear him play, you know it's Lars. You know, but I agree. He's a shrimp little bastard,
and the fact that these guys are still doing it in their 60s too. I mean, their most recent single Lux Eterna was fucking awesome. I dug the shit out of that song, and
I didn't like it was good. It's a good song, but the production is so refined sounding. I wish that's the problem with music for me nowadays. Everything sounds so computerized and digital, and just God,
well, I will say though, their last album, Hardwired, was fucking awesome.
They won me back. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. Then I went off on a tangent, but Hardwired won me back because didn't like Saint Anger. I'll never forget my uncle getting it opening day, and I remember watching his Deflation, listening to it. But then the one that came out after that, Death Magnetic. Nothing. What big songs were on that record?
It is their The Day That Never Comes. That's the one that really stood out on that album. But that is Cyanide was really popular on the radio, but I'm not a big fan of that song.
Flash in the Pan though, it went away.
Yeah, no.
Moth into Flame, I think, is one of their best songs ever.
Oh my God, Moth into Flame, Halo on Fire, Atlas Rise. There's some great songs on Hardwired that are just like, oh God, I love that album. But yeah, Death Magnetic is their most overproduced album ever. Like it is just, you listen to it and you're like, is this even metal? Like it. Yeah. There's a song on there that I can't stand, that I've never been able to stand. All Nightmare Long. I fucking hate that song.
Great title though.
It is, but I fucking hate that song.
See, it sounds like an Avenged Sevenfold title.
Yeah, well, I was going to get into that too, because I love Avenged Sevenfold, and their drummer before he died, Jimmy Sullivan, the Rev, was an amazing drummer. Amazing. That dude was so good. And then they got the dude to finish that album, Nightmare, the dude from Dream Theater. What's his name? The drummer from Dream Theater? Mike Portnoy?
Mike Portnoy.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal drummer. But the funny thing behind the scenes is they recorded the album. They finished with him because they had only recorded a few songs with Jimmy, and then they go out on tour with it. And I remember the fallout from all of it. Mike thought he was in the band, and they had to meet with him and be like, "You're not in the band, dude. You're just a placeholder. We had to finish the record. Like, we had a deadline we had to meet. Basically, we're in the process of trying to find a drummer." And there was this falling out with them where Mike Portnoy was basically like, "I'm better than you guys. I don't have to fucking subject myself to this bullshit." And it's like, but you wanted to be in the band, and then you got mad when they were like, "You're not in the band, actually."
Yeah, he went on to do this Winery Dogs project with Billy Sheehan, I think's his name, from super talented guy. But I remember he had some problems, and he left Dream Theater. He was arguing with some of them. I think he's trying to get back into Dream Theater, though. I remember reading something about that. But
that's my buddy Phil's favorite band of all time is Dream Theater. I never really listened to him. Never really got into him at all.
I don't like math rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
That prog shit.
Hmm.
That's super. I don't know, dude. Give me. I'm old school, dude. I'm Blue Oyster Cult. Alice Cooper's my favorite of all time. You know, I just like a good song. Give me a
Yeah.
mean. Just give me a song that's got a mean streak and kick-ass riffs, man. I just like some. I just that's my style. You know,
Yeah.
like Motorhead, Alice Cooper, Blue Oyster. I love 70s shit, dude. I mean, the Aerosmith was way better when they were on drugs. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love Pump and I love Permanent Vacation, but I mean, listen to Love in an Elevator, then go back and listen to anything from Toys in the Attic. Like that was a band like that was just on such a musical. They were just in the moment when you listen to that shit, but they were on drugs. So
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Corn was better when they didn't believe in God. Like that, I always say it to my band. They're like, oh, when Head returned back to the band and stuff, I was like, yeah, that's cool. But I mean, man, when they all were like doing drugs and they didn't believe in God, they were so much better. Like, I'm sorry. Like now they're all Christian and sober,
That's one of the, I
which
mean,
is good, which is good. But
yeah.
dude,
It's
Follow
one.
the Leader, like that was a dangerous fucking band in 1999. Go watch that Woodstock footage. Dude, it was like people died in
Well,
that
yeah.
crowd, dude.
I mean, one of my favorite bands that I don't feel people talk about enough. I've always loved the Cars. I fucking love the
Oh, they're
Cars.
great. That's the band you listen to, dude. Like when you don't know what to listen to,
It's
because they've got so
summertime
many.
music. I
They
loved
get
it in the summer.
the Cars are great. I love the Cars. I listen to
Yeah.
them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
good
no, I
stuff.
mean, we're talking about like movies for next year. I kind of want to get your opinion on this because we've talked about it a little bit, like the previous movies and like our overall thoughts. One movie that I feel like keeps getting lost in all of the movies that are coming out, because next year again is shaping up to be a damn good year in horror, is Insidious Chapter 5, man. I believe we have both agreed that there isn't a weak movie out of the four. Like they're all pretty solid. And then
Are they
you've
all
got
PG-13?
um
Because the first one is.
if the first one is, then they all are. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The reason I ask is because like this is like kind of going back to where it all started. Like the last two kind of went on their own tangents. I really liked the fourth one with the keyhole demon. I really dug that one.
Me too.
At least his backstory was cool. But like this one's going back to Patrick Wilson's family again. Like he's back. The kid is back. Rose Byrne's back. It's 10 years later. He's going off. Their son's going off to college. He's directing it too. It's his directorial debut. Like
Good for him.
I think this is really setting up to be a like I said, it's another franchise that I feel like even the worst one is still pretty decent. So like I feel like we should probably be talking about it more as horror fans, that like it's got the potential to be really good. Everybody back from the first movie, which I feel like is undoubtedly the best. So like, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it.
I am too. But you know, you say that, and I wouldn't argue with you because I remember being in the theater for Insidious, but I really like the Lin Shaye saga of those movies too. Like I really liked The Last Key. I remember when I bought that, I was like sitting, I'll just get it. You know, it's probably not any good. And we were like, was that your favorite one? And she was like, I think so. Like, so like, I'm down. Is Lin Shaye in it?
I haven't said yes or no. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. She's been in all of them. So,
I was going to say, dude, like, she's my favorite part of those movies.
Yeah.
I love her. So I'm down. I'm down to, I like 2. I like the third one. The third one I thought was fucking great.
The only
I love those movies. I like Insidious more than The Conjuring. I really do. Like, I had such a good time watching those Insidious films. I really did. Like, I love Lin Shaye so much.
I was bummed, man. I was really bummed. Like, I gave The Conjuring 3 a good review because I feel like it is a good movie, objectively speaking, but it was the first of the 3 Conjuring movies that didn't scare me at all. And that sucks, man, because, like, the first one, that whole final act, I mean, there's so much in the first Conjuring that shouldn't even be scary, and it fucking is. And that's because it's James Wan. Like, just some of the dialogue is creepy. Some of the, like, there's a fucking scene in The Conjuring where, like, literally the pictures fall off the wall and slam so goddamn loud. And when you're in a theater and that happens out of nowhere, you're like, oh, fuck. Like, there's a scene where the dad's walking around at night and the door is like swinging, and he thinks that like, holy shit, someone come in. It's just a window open, and he walks around, and the daughter's just standing atop of the steps, and it made me jump when I saw. There's so much in that movie that is just so crafted perfectly. And the second one has creepy moments too. And then the third one, although I feel like the third one is probably the best Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga story, because it's a lot about them, and I think they're awesome in it. It just wasn't scary at all. Like, there was not a moment in that movie that I was like, I felt any real tension.
Yeah. I think that there was a good movie there, but it lacked the flair that I always said, like, it needed James Wan. It needed James Wan without a shadow of a doubt. It's like everything James Wan does. He creates like these really cool stuff, hands it off to people, and they don't fumble it, but they never get as far as he did and make it as maybe there's an instance or two there where that's not the case. But
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Look at the franchises he has created. What are the best Saw movies? Most people would say 1, 2, and 3. The ones where James Wan was the most involved. He was no longer really. He was an executive producer after that. It started to show less of his hand in the pie, and some of the movies weren't very good, or they were just okay. The Conjuring 1 and 2, the two best. The third one, and then all the universe movies. Annabelle Creation's really good. Like, most of them are just like
best one, dude.
It's awesome.
I love Creation.
I can't tell you how great that was to see that in theaters, because I hated the first one, and my buddy Dave and I, we were still living together at the time, and I was like, we'll give this one a shot. We'll go see it in the theater. You know, it's a summertime movie, and it's the best feeling in the world to walk out of a movie theater and be like, they saved it. They literally saved this. That's awesome. Like, it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they do that with The Nun. I hope they do that with the sequel to The Nun, because there's a lot about The Nun I really liked. I liked Taissa Farmiga in the lead. I liked the gothic atmosphere and setting. I thought that Abbey was just gorgeous to be in and to look at, but it wasn't scary. It just wasn't scary.
No.
So I really hope they redeem it with the second one. Although I will say, there's a moment in The Nun where when I was in the theater, I thought was genuinely incredible. And it was when she put the fucking blood of Christ in her mouth and spit it on Valak's face. I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Right.
That was awesome. Like, you have the blood of Christ, and that's awesome.
There's zero reason it can't be good. Like, that movie can't be good. I think most people are just like, dude, it was such a good character. And then the movie just really didn't do anything with it. Like, it, you know, even me at the time, this was my era, and I've talked about this before. This was my era where I was just saying everything was good because I was, it wasn't that bad, blah blah blah. And even that movie for me at the time, I was just like, God damn, man, I didn't feel anything watching this. So but it made a shit ton of money. So, but why now? Like, I feel like that movie came out well before COVID happened.
Yeah, it came out in 2018, September of 2018.
Oh, well, I guess maybe that's a pretty close call then.
I mean, it's by the time this one comes out, it'll be 5 years. But I agree. I think the reason was they wanted a reset with the series in a way. Like, some of the universe movies weren't doing as well, critically at least, and it was kind of like, okay, we don't want to lose this franchise while it's still hot. So, like, let's not let this go off the rails. And I feel like they had to have some meetings at Warner Brothers and be like, what are we going to do here? Because we did La Llorona. It didn't get good reviews. It didn't make a ton of money. It made good money for its budget and everything, but it wasn't like what The Nun did or the Conjuring movies did. So then they kind of brought it back to basics, and they were like, let's do a mainline Conjuring movie. Let's get another Conjuring movie out there. And that made, in the middle of COVID and on HBO Max same day, it made over $200 million. So they're like, okay.
Really?
Yeah, it made $204 million.
No shit.
Yeah, so this is like one of those, the Conjuring universe is one of those universes. It's pretty much critic proof. Like, it's still going to make money, but they want these to be $300-400 million movies. And like The Nun was, like the Conjuring movies were. And you weren't seeing that anymore. You know, Annabelle Comes Home was fun, but it's not great. And it didn't make as much. And The Curse of La Llorona didn't make as much. So they started to get worried, I think. And it was like, well, what's a character that made a shitload of money? And they're like, The Nun. Let's just make another Nun movie. But I think they really wanted to have a good story, because they hurt a lot of people after that movie. It was like, you fumbled that shit hard, dude. Like, what's the best scene in The Conjuring 2? It is 100% the office scene with Lorraine and Valak. The shadow going along the wall, fucking eyes go up on the portrait, and then the hands come around. Like, that's like the most effective scene in that movie.
Yeah.
And you fumble that character? Like, how? How? It was a fucking awesome character. Like, I don't know.
So that's coming out this year?
Yeah, I believe that's it's either June or September. It's this summer. It'll be out this summer. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's a great character. There's only, I will say, man, the Nun, for as much as it didn't hit at some points for me, the opening of that movie is incredible. Where the Nun is like, where Valak is slowly coming down the hallway and like the fucking candles are getting blown out slowly, and like you see the fucking Nun coming and she just hangs herself out the window.
Right.
That was an awesome atmospheric opening, and it just never reached that height again in the entire movie. So that one's coming out this year, and they're also now officially in active development with The Conjuring 4. Patrick and Vera are back. They announced the writer, and I think they announced the director too. I think it's the same guy from The Conjuring 3, which kind of bums me out because, look, if that's the case, James Wan better visit set a couple days.
He just needs to get some style. Like, it's like he shot it like, it's almost like he shot it like John Carpenter. It was just very basic. And let's face it, baby, like, not everybody can get away with that.
No.
But like John just had that X factor because that was his thing. Like he let the actors, he had them in frame. They acted. They said their lines. There wasn't these cuts. He wasn't doing the reverse camera from underneath the bed shit. Like John would never do anything like that. He'd be like, that's too much work. But that John made it work for him, and that became his palette. But it just seems like if anybody else does that, it's just like, oh man.
Dude, it's not even just, it's like that is a huge component of it. But one of the main reasons I think that James Wan is as good as he is his visuals too, man. Like his Bathsheba in the first movie is fucking terrifying to look at. Like when she's on top of the fucking armoire and like the camera shows her and she
jumps down.
She's like taking her tongue out, and like it just jumps down. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And like Mary Shaw in Dead Silence is just like terrifying to look at. Like his visuals, like they just kind of stick in your head. Like that's why so many people were obsessed with the fucking Crooked Man after The Conjuring 2, because that visual was just so unique. And it's like there wasn't anything like that in The Conjuring 3. Nothing.
You need to watch Ghost Watch, because it's crazy how it's that 90s BBC. It's really a found footage movie, I guess, because it's through the lens of a news broadcast that they're filming. It's The Conjuring 2. It's the same thing.
Is it that story?
It's the two girls and the mom.
Yeah.
And they're in their little apartment thing, and they're dealing with a poltergeist in the house. You know, it's so close to The Conjuring 2. I think it is a documentary, and there was a lot of filmmakers you would have known that they're all obsessed with the Ghost Watch. They were like, oh, I saw this back in the 90s when it happened. I thought it was real. And so I think Ghost Watch inspired a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure Ghost Watch inspired The Conjuring 2. I say that in a loving way, not like, oh, it's bullshit, but it's so close. The story is very similar. So it's just crazy. I wish I had seen Ghost Watch years ago, but I saw it now. But that's what The Conjuring 2 is, which makes me like The Conjuring 2 more. I already liked it more than one, but
yeah, it's my favorite Conjuring movie. But I will maintain that the first one is scarier, because that is just, dude, I cannot tell you. I can't tell you what that theater experience was like. I mean, I am someone that does not scare easy. I really don't. And I was sitting in that theater in that third act when all that shit was going down, and I'm there with my buddy Dave, his girlfriend, and my girlfriend at the time. And we're sitting there, and like at one point I'm literally like this, like I'm kind of slouched in my chair, and I'm kind of like hand up near my face, like because like I kind of wanted to cover, but like I didn't do it. But like it was like this, and I like looked over at him at one point, and I was like, bro, this is not good. Like it's fucking freaking me out. And like movies just don't do that to me. Like there's The Ring did that the first time I saw The Ring. Um, The Exorcist did that when I was a kid. The Conjuring in theaters, but like, yeah, I mean, there's just I still get goosebumps at some of the parts when I watch The Conjuring. They're just that good. Like the hide and clap sequence when the hands just come up right next to her face in theaters, dude. I was like, fuck this, man. Like,
I always found the 70s to just be inherently more creepy than like anything from the 80s. Like the 80s aesthetic. There's something about the 70s. Everything was wood and, dark. And there's something creepier about the 70s, which I think is a big aid in
dude,
The Conjuring as well.
can you imagine being that dad? Can you imagine what, like, you just go down there? Like, oh, yeah, these fucking boards fell out of the wall. Oh, looks like we have a cellar. I'm going to go check it out. Fuck that. No way in hell.
He's got to be strong for his wife and his kids, man.
I mean, I get it, but
you know what I mean?
That moment is so funny, too, in the middle of the night when she's walking around the house. She's like, if there's anyone in here, I'm locking you down here. The fucking door shuts on her. She falls down the steps. I mean, oh, it's pure nightmare fuel. Like, I don't care what you think about those movies. That is pure nightmare fuel. To have that happen and then to be stuck in the middle of the night in a cellar and you're like, I'm locked in here by myself. Something just pushed me down the fucking steps. Like, no, dude, no, it's nightmare fuel. Like,
yeah, I hear you. For me, the demon stuff, I'm sure what you mean, like what scared you was like the scenarios and stuff like that was great.
Well, the demonic as a whole, yeah, because I am Christian. Like I was raised that way. I believe that stuff. Yeah. So
I am too, but that stuff, well, I say that. There are days where I say to myself, when you die, you die. It just depends on how pissed off I am that day.
I feel you.
What really got me was The Strangers, because that shit's real.
Yeah.
That fucked me in the theaters. I was 16 in 2008, I think. And I saw that shit. And when you see that motherfucker in the back, no music playing. Finally, there's a sequence where there's no music, because that sometimes is the scariest part. And he's just in the back. And the silence was fucking deafening. People were gasping in the theater. Dude, The Strangers fucked me. That movie,
dude, it's not even just that too. You're absolutely right with that. It's not even just that. I'm taking you guys to my fridge with me. It's not even just that though. It is also The Strangers is one of those movies that you go back and you rewatch it now and you notice so much that you didn't notice the first time. Like so many times The Strangers are literally out in the fucking open and you didn't even realize it. Like, or they're, you're in it's a kitchen shot and out in the wind, outside the window, you see some shit. Yeah. Or you see someone in the background in the woods and it's like they didn't pay much attention to it while it was happening. But like you go back and watch it. It's just one of those movies that you find so much in. And I love that. By the way, there's a couch in my kitchen that I have to get rid of. So if you guys saw that couch, I'm burning that bitch. I'm burning that bitch this week. But yeah, no, The Strangers, I think that's why Halloween was so effective. That's what my mom told me from the 70s, because she saw it in theaters and she was a babysitter. And she was like, everybody,
for sure.
Yeah, she was like, everybody was a babysitter. If you were a teenager, you were a babysitter. And this dude killed babysitters. That's real. Like, I think that's why Nightmare on Elm Street fucked with me as a kid. Because I was like, I have to dream. Like, I have to dream. I can't even help it. I woke up from a dream today. I was taking a nap. I woke up saying no. I don't even know why. I woke myself up saying no. So, like, I don't remember what the dream was. But, yeah, it's just, like, certain shit. Can't get away from it, man. Like, it's...
I'm back in my... I knew this would happen. I'm not watching the Halloween movies right now, but I'm back in my... I got to give my respect. So, my original 78 poster is back up above my TV. I took it down for a while, and then I put up Rob Zombie's H2, Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2. I had up there for a while, and then I got I said, I don't want to say it. Halloween 3 never ever moves. But that's an original poster, so I just thought of, as the gift that Sydney got me when we started dating. I always keep that up, but I went through some Friday the 13th films, and I put up a Hammer movie poster up there. And probably about a week ago, I was doing something, and I was just like, I I always get Halloween. It's not Halloween fever, but I get okay with the movies again, and I'm like, no, I joke around, but yeah, the original, yeah, it's great. So now I got my original back up, and so I got that. That'll probably stay up here for a while.
Once Halloween is over, Christian's like, I'm cool with Halloween on second thought, you know.
You know what's crazy to me? The Halloween movies are almost like summer movies because that's when like I feel like people really are like get Halloween fever more than any time. It's like in like fucking like think about it, dude. Like on Instagram and shit, like dude, like in the middle of like June, people are fucking all about Halloween.
Oh yeah, we get
You
over
know?
sweating our balls off pretty quickly. It gets to a point where it's like I'm tired of walking outside and feeling like I just walked into Satan's asshole. Like
Yeah.
I want it to be fall.
And
Like
it's
yeah,
like I feel like it's just close enough for people, so they're showing their Blu-rays off, they're showing their T-shirts off, and oh, dude, I've had a few people hit me up, and they got their Halloween 6 trick or treat, like 12-inch Michael Myers
yeah,
figure, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh fuck, man, I kind of want that because
Yeah,
it
I
looks
saw it
great.
too. Yeah, for you bastards that tag us in it to show us, look what I got.
I'm
Yeah,
happy. Yeah,
I'm happy for you, but I'm jealous as shit.
So we don't have to go too much longer. We're at an hour and 30, but I wanted to mention this. I think that we're gonna get a Rob Zombie film on 4K this year, but I don't think it's gonna be the Halloween films. I think it's gonna be House of 1,000 Corpses for the 20th anniversary.
You're probably right.
You know?
It's not going to be Halloween. It's look, guys. I mean, we see your messages, we see your comments. Look, we agree. We want them both in 4K. We've talked to Sean about it. It just doesn't seem like something that is in the works right now because of rights issues. So we've kind of gotten to a point where we just have to accept it's eventually going to happen. Those movies were, for the Halloween franchise up until the Blumhouse trilogy, the most successful since the original financially. So like they have their fans, they're going to get their day. But it's not right now. But yeah, House would probably be it. But I got a feeling though, man, if they're going to do House, I don't think they'd wait for Rejects. I think they'd do Rejects too, because Rejects is the more popular one.
I guess so. It depends on the resources that they put into restoring them. If they do it at the same time, if it makes more financial sense to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, I would rather have a House. House is my favorite of the three of that trilogy.
Dude, House is the best. House is the best.
Yeah,
it's like you either got style or you don't. Like if you think Rejects is better, you're just basic. I'm sorry. Like House is way more fun. Like I love Devil's Rejects. Don't get me wrong, but it's not even close. Like House is everything. House is style. It is colors in all the right places. I feel like Joe Bigos is like trying to do that, like Rob, but he was like Rob knew how to do it without blasting shit in your eyes and just doing shit that is like. I feel like Bigos, like when you finally do see Christmas Play Christmas, you're gonna be like, oh god, it's so much, it's everywhere. It's like the whole scene is blue and green. But Rob would do little shit like that's kind of cool. Just yeah, that's fine. Like I like that. That's cool. Or like the lens flares in the mirror, like in front of the diner. Like it's just small shit that's cool, but it's like really cool. It's effortless. It's effortless.
You have people say, like, I've heard some complaints for House being like, oh, it seems like it's shot and edited like a music video. And I'm like, yeah, fucking rules. Like it fucking rules. Like
it's awesome.
There's so much about that movie. It is so frantic at times. But like it works for that movie.
It's one of the most beautiful Blu-rays I have too. Like, dude, that Blu-ray looks amazing. Mm-hmm. So maybe the 4K wouldn't look any better because for some reason, like, and a lot of people, I've talked to people about that. I was like, dude, for some reason, House of 1,000 Corpses looks flawless on Blu-ray. And so, like, that was shot on 35. When he was on Charles' podcast, it's so funny listening to people. Like, I almost think people give Rob a little bit more creativity than he really than he really is going for. He goes on Charles Band's podcast and he says, yeah, so I shot House on 35. And I remember when we blew that up on the projector and watched it, I was like, oh, this looks way too nice. So then I shot Devils on 16 because I just didn't want it to look as nice. Like, that's literally what he said. And then he goes, once I shot Devils on 16, we blew that up. And I was like, I don't know. This still looks really good. Like he purposely wanted his movies to look like shit. You know, because that's the way he grew up watching movies. They looked like shit because they were, you know, cropped and you just fucked, you know, framed to hell. So it's
Yeah,
just
and
so funny hearing him say that. It's like he's not an artist. The way people want to talk, he literally wanted his movies to look like shit.
yeah,
I love it.
but I mean, he grew up watching stuff that didn't look great. So
That's what I'm saying. That's what he
yeah,
said. He's like, yeah, he watched his VHS tapes that were SLP, which is the cheapest way to watch, like, you know, watch VHS tapes, cropped, fuzzy. And he goes, yeah, but like, it's like when you clean it up, sometimes it's like there's a little bit of mystery to the image when it looks really bad. And there's like kind of like the fun. Like, Rob, what are you talking about?
I'm telling you.
Well,
I mean,
the 16 works. I also feel like he was starting that. He was doing that before it was cool. In 2009, I don't know how many people were shooting on 16 millimeter for major motion pictures at the time. Like 2009, you were heavy in the and I feel like he doesn't get the credit for kind of being like, no, fuck film. Like I want to shoot this shit. Fuck digital. I want to shoot this on film. I feel like he needs a little bit more credit with that.
He's never gotten
bringing that back.
Yeah, I mean, he's never gotten the credit for a lot. And it's shitty because people are just like, oh, his fucking movie, his dialogue and his wife. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Like
his wife.
Yeah, find first of all, you know you like looking at her. Second of all, find some other shit to bitch about, dude. Like, at least he's original. Like, at least he's like every company that contracts him to make a movie at some point ends up regretting it. And I love that. Like, because they see what he's doing and they're like, Rob, I don't know about this, man. He's like, well, you already paid me. So, like, Universal did it with House of Thousand Corpses. The only time that he didn't have any issues, I think, was Devil's Rejects. I think that was the only time where there was no issues. Every other movie this guy has made, there have been issues behind the scenes.
You do me a favor. You have got to listen to Charles Band's podcast.
I was just about to ask you about that. Yeah.
I keep telling people, besides this one, it's the best podcast in the world because Charlie Band literally gets the best guests ever. He had Eli Roth on. He had Joe Begos. He had Jim Wynorski. He had John Carpenter. And it was the greatest John Carpenter interview I've ever heard because he loves and respects Charlie. So he was open to talk about anything. But Rob literally talked for 2 hours. They split it up for 2 parts. He literally told Bob Weinstein stories on the set of the Halloween films. That's all he talked about and how crazy Bob was. So, I mean, you'll actually really dig it. That's all he talked about.
What's the podcast called?
Full Moon Freak Show. Just type in Charles Band and you'll find it on iTunes and go listen to the John Carpenter interview is great, but and it was crazy because Charlie talked to John about like how I have the game when he was making games for Atari 2600 and he made Halloween the game.
Yeah, I remember hearing all about and reading about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It cost me a couple $100 to get the game. Sean has it in the box, which is worth hundreds and hundreds, probably $1,000. But I've just got the cartridge and I've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But yeah, it's awesome. But literally hearing Rob do his Bob Weinstein impression and talk about how insane, and he's an asshole. Like he said that Bob would show up he would show up on set. I don't even spoil. I want you to listen to it. I want you to hear it.
I was going to ask you because I will listen to it tomorrow at work.
You'll love it. There's 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. So he literally talked to Rob for like 2 hours.
That makes me wonder what Rob's going to do next, man. I really want him to get behind the director's chair again.
Well, this is what he said. Like he's at the point in his career now where he said, whenever I want to do a project, the first question I'm going to ask is, how much money do you want me to make this for? It's where you'll leave me alone. Meaning like he wants to make a movie for a modest budget where he says the way he made it sounds, he refuses to ever work for a high profile movie. Like not necessarily like Halloween, but with people breathing down his neck like that. He said he hated Bob. And dude, the story, I'm not going to split it, but the story of Rob threatening a man's life at the test screening for Halloween 2 is insane. I can't wait for you to hear it. I can't wait for you to hear it. He was, I wish we could see it, but he basically alludes to why you'll never see the documentaries. I know we've talked about it and it's crazy, but I didn't know it was this crazy. Wait till you get
Yeah.
to the part where he talks about the test screening of Halloween 2 and he threatened a man's life. It's fucking great. And he says it, because you know how Rob is. He's like, he talks like this. He's like, honestly, I remember I felt really bad about it, but like I was so mad, man. Like I just, I said, I know what you're fucking doing, you piece of shit. It's crazy. Oh man, I wish we could see the making of, but now I know why. It's fucking bad.
Yeah, it's probably in prison with Harvey. No one's ever gonna see it.
Never. Oh well, man, this was fun. We got long one this week.
Yeah, a lot of topics covered, guys. Music, Saw, Rob Zombie, Christmas, healthcare. There's a lot.
Yeah, I try to balance it. I try to balance it out, and
Well, that's what they come here for. Variety.
And that's what I like listening. I like listening to the banter. I mean, it's great when you got cool topics, but I like hearing about somebody's arduous decision to change toothpaste brands. Like I love listening to shit like that.
I went to Crest 3D White about 2 months ago. I'm liking it.
I got Crest too, but I got like this black soap, like black color
charcoal.
Toothpaste.
Is it like charcoal? Yeah,
it's close to it. It doesn't turn my teeth black like when I'm brushing them, but it's a dark color that's supposed to be kind of like that.
It's Crest. Yeah, I've used that before. I just didn't care for the taste all that much, but I mean, it's toothpaste. You're not really supposed to, I guess. It makes everything taste like shit too after you're done brushing your teeth, which is why they tell you not to drink anything after you brush your teeth unless it's water. But yeah, I mean, look, this was fun. I wonder what we'll do next week. Next week will be the show before the new year. So maybe we'll recap some of our favorites of this year and then what we're most looking forward to next year. I don't know.
Or maybe we'll talk about our favorite TV dinners.
Yeah.
Did I stump you with that one? Did I just think?
No, I got a text. And I was like reading it, but I don't really eat TV dinners, man. I really don't.
Well, save it for next week.
Okay, all right. There are a few I could talk about. Yeah.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas to everybody. I don't know if this will be my last video before the holiday, but if it is, I hope everybody's been doing good. And it's stressful times, so hopefully this helps you just take your mind off of shit for at least a little while, because I know we could all use some escapism. So hope everybody's out there is doing good and getting through. Don't worry about making New Year's resolutions. Just stop being a piece of shit now. Don't wait till like you know what I mean, or just say, hey, I am who I am, and I
am a piece of shit, and I'm not gonna pretend.
You know what I mean? I could go off on a tangent on New Year's resolutions. How stupid that is.
It's fucking dumb. Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm going to stop being a serial murderer on January 1st. Like, come on.
No
anyway.
Promises.
So there it is, guys.
Yeah, I mean, from me as well, guys. Merry Christmas to you all. I will have a couple uploads this week. I'm going to pump them out tomorrow, and I'm going to put them out like one after the other before Christmas. But yeah, Merry Christmas from us. Happy Hanukkah if you're celebrating it. Kwanzaa, New Year's, all that shit. Whatever you guys celebrate, I hope it's great. And I hope you guys have a very Uneeda Christmas.